The story of America's cars is not the story you think you know. It's not about luxury or speed. It's about survival. In the early 1900s, America moved slowly. People dreamed of faster travel, but it was only a dream for the rich. Cars existed, but they were toys for the wealthy. The average family could never afford one. Then Henry Ford stepped forward. He was not the richest man in Detroit. He was not a famous inventor. But he had a dangerous idea: build a car that every American worker could afford. The idea was so risky that big companies laughed at him. But Ford didn't stop. He built the Model T, and the Model T was more than just metal and wheels. It was freedom. It was a machine that gave farmers, workers, and families something new: independence. People who had never traveled outside their small towns could suddenly drive across states. The Model T gave America motion. But the hidden story is not just about invention, it's about revolution. Ford built the assembly line, cutting costs and building cars faster than anyone thought possible. The world changed overnight, yet this victory had its shadows. Workers called the factory a machine that ate men alive. The hours were long, the rules were strict. Ford controlled everything, even his workers' private lives. Still, the Model T took over. By the 1920s, America was a land of wheels. Families drove to new towns. Young people found freedom on the road. The car became more than transport. It became identity. And the question grew darker. If cars could change America once, what else could they do in the future? The Chevrolet Corvette is America's sports car. But do you know its story? Back in the 1950s, America was in a secret war. Not against another country, but against the whole world. It was the Cold War, and technology was the weapon. The best minds were working on the most advanced planes, missiles, and machines to outsmart the enemy. But while the military was building weapons, General Motors was building something else, something that looked harmless: a sleek, fast car. It was called the Corvette, and it was America's answer to European sports cars like Ferrari. But the Corvette wasn't just about speed. It was about showing the world that America could build the best car in the world. But when the first Corvettes hit the road, they were laughed at. They were slow and weak. People didn't want them. Sales almost collapsed. But then an immigrant engineer named Zora Arkus took over. He pushed the Corvette to the limit, upgrading its engine, secretly designing new parts and making sure the Corvette became the fastest car in America. By the late 1950s, the Corvette was a roaring success. It won races, broke records, and shocked the world. But behind its polished exterior, the Corvette was still a weapon. It was part of a larger battle, a cultural war on wheels. And as the Corvette became more popular, the pressure to perform mounted. It was no longer just a car, it was a statement. America would not be outdone. This is the Jeep. You might think it's just a car, but it's not. Not all cars were built for freedom or pride. Some were built for war. When the U.S. Army needed a vehicle that could cross mud, climb hills, survive gunfire, and carry soldiers into battle, they turned to Jeep. And when dozens of companies tried to build it, one design rose above the rest. Simple, rugged, and unstoppable. Soldiers trusted it more than any weapon. They drove it into the deserts, forests, and snowy mountains of World War II. It became a symbol of survival. And without it, many missions would have failed. But after 1945, soldiers came home with memories of the Jeep and its ability to save lives and conquer impossible roads. Soon, America wanted a Jeep for peace. So civilian models hit the market. Farmers, hunters, and adventurers bought them. The Jeep became a bridge between war and home. And if you like this story, stay tuned for more, because there are more stories in here that are just waiting to be found. This is the wild story of the Ford Mustang. In the 1960s, America was restless. Young people wanted more than survival. They wanted speed, style, and rebellion. So Ford made a dangerous gamble, a new car that was not just transport, but a symbol of freedom. They called it the Mustang. The launch was shocking. Ads promised adventure, excitement, and independence. The Mustang was affordable, but it looked like a race car. It had power, but it was built for everyday roads. It broke every rule. Critics doubted it. Competitors mocked it. But when the Mustang hit the market, America exploded. Young buyers rushed in. Students, workers, even women who were rarely targeted in car ads, they all wanted a Mustang. Within 2 years, Ford sold over 1 million cars. The streets of America filled with Mustangs. It was not just a car anymore, it was a movement. But freedom had a price. Speed meant accidents. Style meant consumer pressure. And soon competitors built Challengers, the Camaro, the Charger, the Challenger. The pony car wars had begun. The Mustang was not just an icon. It was a spark that set fire to an entire generation of cars. That's all for today. See you next time. Not all iconic cars are about speed or war. Some are about power, the power of luxury. Cadillac rose as the crown jewel of American cars. For decades, owning one meant success, money, and respect. Politicians, celebrities, and leaders all drove them. But the real story of Cadillac is about rivalry. In the early 20th century, Cadillac had to fight for its place in the sun against Lincoln, Chrysler, and European brands. It was a battle of style, comfort, and status. Every year, new designs tried to outshine the rest. Tail fins, chrome, massive engines. Cadillac turned cars into art. People didn't just drive a Cadillac. They displayed it like a throne on wheels. Yet behind the luxury was competition so fierce it bordered on war. Companies spied on each other. Designers raced against deadlines. Money flowed like water, and failure was not an option. America's luxury race was more ruthless than most people knew. Cadillac also had its secrets. The brand was used in presidential limousines armored with bulletproof glass. Some models were modified for intelligence work. What looked like elegance carried hidden weapons. Today, when we see an old Cadillac, we see style. But hidden in its chrome and leather is a story of battles, economic battles, cultural battles, and even political battles. Cadillac was never just a car. It was America's throne. It carried secrets that few will ever know.